I'm digging these weird shapes and stuff they've got for their numbers this time. Very old school. New trailer?
The stakes are higher than they've ever been. Have we been built to defend the Traveler? Have we been built to defend humanity? The Witness is going to bring all of that to the test.
What is that? How would we react if we were facing extinction? And how are we going to
He's using
stand together
Strand,
to
okay.
overcome this?
You know what must be done.
We were created for this moment, to deal with this conflict, to solve for this enemy.
What the hell happens when evil finally arrives and confronts the Traveler?
Nice space battles. Like, that's a fleet at Earth. Like, that's the Pyramid fleet showing up and being like, what's up, homie?
The Traveler is threatened. The Witness is here. Callus's forces are here as well. The Pyramid fleet is here. Big shit is going down.
It's fair.
Lightfall should feel like you have stepped into the middle of an active war.
I do
One of the
appreciate they
values that
put
we
their
really wanted to
pronouns
push
down
was
there.
Making sure that you felt like the tip of the spear.
We got James down
You
there
were
for
the
a
one
hot
who
minute.
is
That looks dope.
Initiating the action. You were the one who is taking control. You were the one who is attacking things. What this tone gave us the chance to do was to really surface the friendship, the camaraderie, the connections that we have to each other.
Kaido, we'll need your troops.
If the end of the universe is coming, what do we have left other than each other?
Keep the enemy away from the Traveler. At all cost.
Welcome back, Lance.
There's a pretty big, serious threat that is happening to the solar system, so we really wanted to bring that gravity and that weight into the story.
In a major way, what we're doing right now is we're both setting up the finale for the Light and Darkness saga. We're pulling the Witness into the frame for the first time.
The big question has been, what does it want with the Traveler? What will happen when it finds it? And
It needs
in
it to
Lightfall,
complete
does find it.
its planetary
The Witness is so
diorama.
drastically different from
Perfect
any
size
other
for Pluto.
antagonists that we've had in Destiny in the past. You know, a lot of our Destiny antagonists are like kind of over the top and theatrical in their own way. And then we have the Witness, who's just so reserved. It's all about
Walking in
control
space.
with the
Dope.
Witness.
The Witness.
Wonder if
is
that was
here
a
to finish
vision
what
or
the
if that's
class
something that
started.
Witness can actually do.
Now, there's Callus. Always been power hungry, in it for himself.
Two tormentors.
He's now signed on as one of the Witness's disciples. We're seeing Callus go through a transformation and emerge as something new.
My semblance
Gilded.
matches my inner beauty.
Ooh.
Odds are stacked against you. The Witness has arrived. We got Callus. Everything's under attack. How do we deal with this? And then you find this thread.
We knew we wanted to do another Darkness power in Destiny. Are we gonna do what everyone thinks we're gonna do? Are we gonna make like poison?
Which is what everyone
No,
thought, yeah,
there's
after
something that you
Glycon.
only find in Destiny. We're gonna go talk about this thing called Strand, and it's the web of life.
What does it mean to have a cosmic web that's connecting everything around you? How do you actually make that like an ability? How do you make that like a power? It's something that doesn't actually exist. You can't just point to fire, electricity, or ice. Coming up with the idea of the strings, the strands lighting up the world. I think that was when everything kind of started to come together.
Strand
It's
is
super
unlike
dope.
Many of the powers that we've gotten before. We didn't get it from the Traveler. We didn't get it from the Pyramids. It is a power that we find is unlocked within us as Guardians. When you pull on that thread and you start manipulating that web, ooh, you can do some really powerful things.
We have some exciting player
Damn.
class fantasies coming up with Strand that we're introducing. So we have the Hunter Threadrunner, which is going to introduce this threaded spike.
The Hunter Super Silk Strike, it's this kind of rope dart. You're constantly moving, constantly attacking.
Ooh.
It feels fluid. It has an amazing style.
That looked
to it.
quick,
It's just
looked
something
snappy.
We've never seen in Destiny before.
And then there's the Titan Berserker, and the name is pretty fitting.
The Titan Super is Blade Fury, where you weave these giant blades onto your hands. You have a melee attack that you can kind of combo indefinitely, and then you have your heavy attack, which sends out these suspending waves.
And then there's the Warlock Broodweaver, the mastermind of the minions that we call the Threadlings.
The Warlock Broodweaver super is Needlestorm. You create 3 sources of power, and then those then get launched out, and then those fly through the air.
They
When
brought
hit
back
an
these
enemy,
iconic sound
they'll
effects.
explode. When they hit the ground, they will then charge up and then turn into Threadlings.
Latch it onto a
All
ship.
classes will have access to a grappling hook. When you select that, that takes up your grenade slot. It was a hard challenge because, like, how can you make this idea of swinging through the world equivalent to a grenade? And so designers came up with this idea of a grapple melee.
The grapple melee is incredibly powerful. I grapple onto an enemy, which stuns them for a second. And then when I get there, I grapple punch, blow them
Ooh,
all
is that
up,
the
and
Dreaming
start
City?
shooting, and then the unravel projectiles are
No, it's
flying all over the
Neomuna.
place.
All that
Dreaming
stuff
City's
coming
like
together was
foliage.
magic for me. Oh my god, that's Destiny?
Neomuna has existed for hundreds of years. It branched off from Earth during our collapse and shut off any communication. So they've been secretly existing on Neptune for a very long time and keeping themselves safe.
It was amazing to see how the concept artist made all of this beautiful art.
It
feel
looks
really
great.
fresh and new, but also a part of the Destiny universe.
When you think about how to design Neomuna, like what's the architecture like? We're thinking of a lot of aerodynamic things, fins and sailboats. That informs us sort of the architectural form language that kind of looks unlike anything we've ever seen before.
The high winds, strong pressure. We have that beach area where we show the sand is made out of diamonds. The whole terrain is following up into the beginning of the city. The color, the graphic design, the vibrancy.
It looks great, but
Yeah,
how
there's some mysteries
big is it? Like, is everything I'm seeing here playable space, or is this just like the
The
skybox?
cool thing about Neomuna is that it's like this big neon-soaked city, but it has quite a spectrum of different environments.
I think my favorite absolutely is the Thrillodrome. It is an arcade lost sector, and I think we can relate to spending our days in a sticky arcade playing games with our buddies.
I'm also so excited for people to see the Puka Pond.
Oh,
all of the
Puka Pond with all the
that have
pukas.
been like such a mystery since Beyond Light.
Everyone tell me that was a name.
And then on the
told
other
you.
side of the city is Callus's ship. The Typhon Imperator has
Typhon
landed
Imperator.
square in Ahimsa Park.
You see that the city is indeed kind of in shambles in parts. There's smoke, there's explosions in the air, and I just go back to the teamwork of everybody getting into a room and thinking like, what can we do to make this feel high octane, very explosive, and familiar?
This is a city that needs the Guardians' help and needs their protection, and Callus is going to do his level best to destroy it, and we're not going to let them, and neither are the Cloud Striders.
There's a lot new about Lightfall. We have this new location, and it has these new personalities that come along with it. They're defenders of this city, and they have new perspectives that we really haven't seen in characters in Destiny, and that's taking the form of the Cloud Striders, Nimbus, and Rohan.
I understand what's at stake, Lightbearer. Far better than you.
Rohan is the grizzled old veteran who's too old for this shit. And Nimbus is the young rookie. Nimbus is learning on the job.
Nimbus was definitely a favorite of ours to animate. They're so boisterous
Yeah.
and fun-loving.
A lot of people like
a little
Nimbus.
smug, but super confident in their abilities.
The Cloud Striders, bottom line, are cool.
Nimbus, on your stakes!
Tormentors.
We want the Tormentors to be the most scary unit that you've ever fought in the Destiny universe.
Holy crap, this combatant is very powerful. It means business.
It's incredibly intimidating. This thing wields a massive scythe, his command over all this void energy.
The Tormentor can like grab you, and that's something we'd never really done before with the boss.
Throws out the scythe, has the player in his hands.
And in those moments for Dark Harvest, we actually do things with audio to make it feel even more intimate, where we duck out all the background sound. So you really have this intimate moment with this terrifying creature grabbing you.
The War at Home.
Lightfall and
Is that
Season of
Shaxx?
Defiance are two sides of the Destiny coin. And so on the Lightfall side, we have crazy neon cities going on an adventure far away, sort of bombastic action fantasy. On the Season of Defiance side of the coin, it's a story that's much more
No, it was
Season of Defiance
must have been her
is
killing
about
something
the
to
ground
save
war on Earth.
Crow.
Callus's forces are invading, and we're defending Earth. We're freeing prisoners.
Go now.
We're trying to protect the last city, but much more directly and under much more threat than we have seen in a long time.
It was easy.
You're working with Petra, you're working with Devram, you're working with all these people that
Welcome
you know
back,
close to
Devram.
home and that are battling for the real thing you're trying to save.
We have a lot of weapons and armor for players to earn, and I'm super excited to see what you've been working on.
We have a couple of Strand exotics. The Warlocks are getting what's called Swarmers. They're these boots that will, on Tangled Destruction, create new threadlings at that location. Now they can either shoot it, or they can pick up a tangle and throw a tangle, and then that will also create threadlings.
All right,
Hunters
dope.
are getting this helmet that will help them grapple through the air. As you grapple, you gain this new ability called Woven Mail, and it's reducing the incoming damage except for headshots. The Titans get boots that will augment a aspect that they have. The aspect itself will just send out a wave that will suspend enemies in front of their barricade after casting it, but the boots will split it up into 3 waves. Whenever they spend an enemy,
Ooh, you can suspend the Cyclopses too. Dope.
I've been caught by those boots a couple times in our playtest. We have this incredibly cool heavy metal machine gun that fires according to its own rhythm, where it gets alternate effects every 4th bullet, and then every 16th bullet it gets even more added to it. So we have this pistol that will use advanced technology to find your enemies. And so suddenly you're not worrying about aiming, you're really
Yeah, this is the
worrying
homing
about
strand
surviving
sidearm.
during the lock-on time. And it opens you up to consider your movement more than your aiming. Being able to lock on to multiple guys in your field of vision and then just obliterate all of them was, I think, a moment where I kind of went, whoa.
It seems pretty decent.
We're introducing a ton of new features that are designed to make sure that the player experiences are as good as they can be.
I think one of the things we're most excited about are loadouts
Mhm.
and what we're calling build crafting 2.0, which is the system of both, hey, let's make it more understandable to how you make a build. And then let's allow you to save that build and quickly
Damn.
swap between them.
When we started the process of figuring out how we are going to improve build
Circular
crafting,
logic, heavy machine
one of the
gun.
things that we knew we needed to do was make it easier to go from I have never done any build crafting to I'm really engaged in this system. When we engaged with the UI team and we said we need to improve this experience, they came back with, well, what if we did a build management screen and let you see your whole build on one screen?
It's all in one place. You can see it, you can read it, you can learn. And that coupled with our Guardian ranks, that's going to come in and basically be
Okay,
our
ooh,
first
Guardian
ever
ranks, all right.
companion to every single player.
Guardian ranks is our answer to what should I be doing in Destiny if I want to get better? You have
That's
this
legit.
track that tells you what you should be doing. We're really excited for players to start diving into that system along with accommodations, a way to finally say thank you to players that you've been playing with. We think all of this stuff is coming together to bring this more cohesive relationship between our players. When we think about the future of Destiny, we think there's so much more to discover. We're just on the coast right now. We want to get into the heart of this continent.
You're still just on the coast?
10-year anniversary of Destiny, and
10 years in?
such a core part of our players' lives. We just want to keep building Destiny.
That's fair.
We've been talking about this antagonist to the Traveler for so long. In Lightfall, we get to spend time with the Witness in a way that we haven't yet.
We're paying
Ooh.
off storylines that have been coming together and been building for years.
More questions will certainly arise.
We have this finale with the final shape that's coming right after Lightfall, where we're closing down the Light and Darkness saga. But Destiny is far
I
from
love the way they do a gainer like that to
Universe is
slam
about
in.
more than the conflict between the Traveler and the Pyramids, and we want to show you new ways to explore it. We want to show you new things to discover in the universe, because we think that Destiny has a lot to offer, and Lightfall is the catalyst for that. It's high stakes, thrilling action, all at the same time, pushing the Destiny story to places it's never been before.
Ooh. Yeah, that was definitely a raid shot. Hey everyone. All right, now that we have seen the reaction to the VidDoc, we're going to go ahead and do the usual, go through the really interesting bits frame by frame, see what we see, and see what other information we can discern that the VidDoc has revealed to us. All right, so we've got, we'll go ahead and take a look at that here. Boop. So we have Travelers still in the upper atmosphere. This looks like it's going to be either the opening cinema or very, very close to the opening cinema of Lightfall. We've got two different of the starting ships. I don't remember what they're called now. And then one of the carriers that Holiday usually flies. We see that big, almost flagship that the Witness uses that we saw at the end of Season of the Seraph in the closing cinema for that. Sounds like on.
The stakes are higher than they've ever been.
True.
Have we been
All right, so this here, all this energy in the background, we'll get a better shot of that in just a moment, right here. Whatever the Witness is doing, I don't believe it's the Witness like directly interacting with the Traveler. I mean, we see that it's still inside of most likely the Witness's flagship. This is a portal or a gateway of obviously of some sort. I don't see, I mean, I see the usual lines that they use for action coming through here, but we can't quite tell what this portal is from. Clearly a lot of paracausal energy though.
all of that to the test?
What is that?
I like that Puka, the Puka is now actually prominently featured in cutscenes that have Elsie.
How would we react if we were facing...
And this right here confirming that Osiris gets Strand. I mean, fantastic. I'm glad Osiris is getting another set of powers. Eris got Stasis. So it completely makes sense that Osiris, being a former Guardian, has access to Strand. We see that Rohan, one of the other Nimbuses, is behind Osiris there. What's up, Callus? Now, I want to show here because I thought about it, and if I thought about it, somebody else did. The red that we see is not from Osiris's eyes, which are down here. It's from his helmet. I had a cautious look for a moment when I first saw this, because I'm like, no, don't tell me they're doing another possession storyline with Osiris, but they're not. As far as I can tell, at least this is not hinting towards one. That's just his actual helmet. That is a long range, actually. This gives us a good view of the kind of range that the grapple will have. So we have one here, and then, of course, the character we're playing as. I don't see any grapple points here that they would be able to latch onto like we've been told to look for. but they create one, and then they create one, and then you create one. So are all three of these characters hunters? Because hunters can create, from what I understand. Maybe I'm missing a piece, but I think only hunters can just latch on wherever. And now we have all three of them here. Maybe hunters are the ones that create and then can refund energy. Not sure. We'll find that out. But that was an impressive amount of range on two of those. I love the jacket. The jacket here on the Witness is just absolutely amazing.
Confronts the traveler.
They're saying it a lot. Previously, when talking about the Witness, they would say he. Quite everybody would say he. But they are saying it a lot. And I'm wondering if they've changed the Witness's pronouns. I'm going to have to find that out. So, all right. Massive fleet. Like everybody has shown up to Earth's doorstep. Dun. All right. The Witness's flagship.
The Witness is here.
Mm-hmm.
Callus's forces are.
Let's get a look here at the Shadow Legion. See if a frame focuses a little better. So it looks like there's still going to be just your typical Cabal. Whatever is on their back, I hope is not just supposed to be like a power source. That needs to be something. That needs to be a weapon. That needs to do something. A mine, a explosion, a turret, some sort of super laser. They need to be dangerous. They look like they're already kind of half mutated. This may just be the light and everything, but they already look like they're going through some sort of mutation. We've got the green in their eyes that the Cabal don't usually have. The biggest question I have, and this may be solved through a lore card, is are the Shadow Legion loyalists or are the Shadow Legion clones? I want to find out.
Pyramid fleet is here. Big shit is going down.
Truth. All right. We have a Titan here coming in with their melee, it looks like. Not sure what the explosions specifically were, but we have the Vex and the Shadow Legion fighting each other. We see that this enemy has the debuff that we usually saw with the Warmind cells. We'll get a better shot of that later, where the Tangles have the same Warmind cell like stuff. All right, let's take a look here at this Hunter. Come flying through. We see the example of the targeting circles that the Cabal drop pods are going to have now. I don't know if this is a scripted event or if this is like you going through the enemies moving against each other, because they're getting attacked by a Scion. The Cabals are dropping in. The Vex are like, oh, hey, what's up? The knives on the helmet or on the cloak of the Hunter, I'm always going to be just so confused by. What am I going to do with those? Just reach up on my head and grab this knife that pointed this way? So I had to grab to the back, not even at the front. Ah, man, that's just... And then like right here, but they're pointed this way. Like look at this, look at this. No, I'll go on a rant about that later, because there's a much better view of the Hunter helmet later. All right, so this is a Void shotgun, I believe is what we've been told. And yeah, we can see the impact right here is Void. But so we get the Void shotgun shot off. I can't tell if it's a slug or a pellet spread. I believe it's pellet spread. And then the chain melees from the Titan.
Initiating the action. Okay. You were the one who is.
We got the tank, shotgun. That's dope. All right. Let's see here. I believe you are a warlock because they are swinging around here. We've got an enemy that is finishable. If you notice, these units do not have that black piece on the back. I mean, yeah, these are incinerators. I think this is an elite incinerator. And then we have the the phalanxes, but they don't have those black resonant darkness tech boxes on their back. So I wonder if those are just new units. When we get the finish, we watch them explode there, which is pretty dope.
Kaido will need.
I think this is your Guardian talking here. We've got Nimbus, Osiris, Kaido, and then your Guardian. Like I said, I believe the one who's saying Kaido will need your troops is your Guardian. Here's, I think, one of those red cables. So it may not be Siva. Obviously, it's probably just me doing wishful thinking.
Kaido will need your troops.
I love that Kaido is wielding her hammer of proving. That is really cool to me. Got all 5 of them here. I do like that we're actually starting to get physical Marasov walking around. This looks like it is in the helm. This is not in Zavala's office or anything like that. So all 5 of them are going to be showing up in the helm at least once. Maybe more.
Away from the traveler at all cost.
Thanks, Lance. Once again, I think this is the opening cinematic for Lightfall.
That is happening
I love the weapon that's firing off here. It's very clear that it's a like devastating blanket type weapon. Probably what was used. So there was an old lore card that was about the moon of Titan and what happened during the first collapse when the pyramid ships showed up. And it said that they unleashed this type of weapon that manipulated Titan's gravity so much that it stretched the planet for a moment before snapping it back into place. And that's how they wiped out the civilization that had started blossoming on Titan when humans moved there. So I think that's a similar type of weapon that they're using.
In a major way, what we're doing, the finale for the Light and Darkness.
Is that the helm? I almost feel like that is the helm.
For the first time.
The big question has been, what does it want with the traveler?
See,
what will happen when it finds it? And in Lightfall, it does find it.
I feel like the Witness is so drastically different from any other antagonist that we've had in Destiny in the past. You know, a lot of our Destiny antagonists are like kind of over the top and theatrical in their own way. And then we have
Yeah,
the Witness,
I feel like that's what they said about Savathun as well, that she's a manipulator, she's in the background, and now they're saying the same thing about the Witness. Obviously to a different degree, but so we have Callus's loyalists, and we have the Tormentors. Okay. We got the Tormentors here, side by side. And I really do love the way that Callus looks. We have the gilding that looks like is actually part of his skin now, and the jewels and everything. Saying the comment, his semblance matches his inner beauty. All the different symbols, I'm assuming, of civilizations that he conquered in his time. All right, so this is the Sparrow that I believe that we followed earlier. And then this is a new Sparrow that's different. Looks kind of neat.
We got Callus.
All right.
Everything's under attack.
Play space, a lot of drop pods coming in.
And then you find this thread.
And Strand.
We knew we wanted to do another darkness power.
Every time I see this shot, and we've got Ghost here with Osiris watching as we manipulate Strand, I feel like this isn't our Ghost. It's like Sagira, as they just put a generic shell on it. Because usually our Ghost is hanging out with us. So it's just, every time I see that, that's what I think.
No.
1, 2.
We're gonna do something that you'd only find.
I like how these eventually get like a almost, honestly, yo, low key, this looks like Metroid Prime. Like, not the game, which is a dope game. This looks like literally Metroid Prime. So these are a few different armor sets from the past. I think, honestly, I don't even really recognize a large portion of these. Clearly this is Fallen inspired, but I don't remember the Fallen one having these spines coming off of the back of it. I think this is the Philomath set, if only because I'm recognizing the bond. It may not be. They look like they're holding a revolver, almost like the old-fashioned. Once again, I'm not It may be a Titan set, which is why I'm not fully recognizing it, because this may be the Titan, but I don't know for sure. I think this is actually the Titan. I think they originally intended for the Titan to have a whip, and us to once again turn it into a staff type weapon. I say us, hunters, to turn it into a staff like weapon, because that's the Frumius set. Not sure what that is. I do like that effect though. That's a pretty dope effect.
It's something
Getting a
that
look
doesn't
at the
actually exist. You can't just
background
point to
screens
fire,
and the
electricity,
knives on the
or
helmet
ice,
again.
Coming up with the idea of the strings, the strands lighting up the world.
Strand
Probably.
is unlike any of the powers that we've gotten before. We didn't get it
All right, we got some really cool strand manipulations here, where we're just messing with the actual threads of the world. All right. This is, so whenever the warlock, because they're the threadling master, or whatever, they're the summoner class. Whenever the threadlings come back, these are most likely the floating orbs that are created. This warlock is using their rift, which is supposed to summon more. So we see there were 5 around them originally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It summoned 3 more with 3 with the 5 that they had. So that's pretty wild. And it just decimated all of them. It almost seemed like they actually exploded and died on their own. All right, so Hunter Super spinning the knife dart. It's a huge radius. Look at that radius. Look at how far out that goes. And where it's, I'm assuming where it's lit up here in the solid white is where it does more damage, because it says in the breakdown of the supers that the knife dart, like the actual knife itself, does more damage than the rope. So that's, it's a huge radius. And then we see here in a moment that the single target hits 1, combos into 2 more that take the hit and die. And you got the radius. And it shows that the hunter's main attack is able to pierce through multiple enemies. And that's a pretty quick combo follow-up on there as well. Punchy Titan. I understand why a lot of people are upset about the Titan again being the punchy subclass. Like, unless activating the super for the Titan makes them borderline invincible, I don't see a lot of point to it. They do have the blades that they shoot out that lift up a bunch. It looks like here it kills 3 enemies and then suspends 2 or 3 enemies and then suspends the phalanx. I would have hoped that a super's ability would have pierced the phalanx shield, but that's just me. Warlock Broodweaver. Did I skip over the gameplay? I must have. So the Broodweaver to me reminds me of like the Gundams or the big powerful mages that summon the satellites. Yeah, summon the satellites of power and just launch them all out as lasers to destroy it. I love that they brought the sound effects guy back. See, like, they just pop out like the satellites of just pure power, pierce through and kill everything that's there, and then they explode into threadlings that go running across the ground. They don't last very long. Like, we're literally seeing some decay right here in front of us. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe? No, they're still there. Maybe they just disappear for a moment, or they move out and go into a sort of search mode until they find an enemy. All right, so we have the hand cannon being used by the hunter. I believe it's a strand hand cannon. They've latched on to the thresher. Now, this is something that's very interesting because the hunters have the ability, when they latch onto something, they will leave an anchor behind for other teammates to use to be able to latch on and grapple through. That is what this point is down here, this little tangle ball. But this shows that it is stationary. If you've grappled onto something that is moving like this thresher, the grapple point will not go with it. That's a very important thing to find out here. Knives on the cloak like that still is going to drive me crazy. So this is obviously a different shot. Previously it was on the gun. Now it's on the wing. This is something that's making me wonder if we have at least a little bit of control of which way we're moving left and right while we're grappled to something. Here we have all three of them hitting points. Now I don't see a grapple point for any of them before they hit. Like, this is all in thin air. So I'm not quite sure if I understand fully how the grapple points are supposed to work. Because it's seeming like you can attach to anywhere. The grapple points may just refund your energy, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, so here is the grapple melee. So it starts out them just chilling. We've got the stock footage down here for the placements of grenade, melee, etc., etc. Stasis SMG, confirmed stasis SMG. Void shotguns, that's probably the one that we've been seeing. And then we have that stasis heavy grenade launcher we'll see again later that is a wave frame. All right, so grabbing on to... All right, so hold on. Thread of Ascent is at 1. They grapple onto the Sparrow. Thread of Ascent recharges. So this is the grapple melee. Everybody has access to it. It does a ton of damage, and it also seems like it activates effects because there was a Titan using it. This is a Warlock that as they come in and they tackle, I mean, it has a huge radius, but we can also see that it creates threadlings. Threadlings are summoned in. So you're able to activate abilities off of the grapple melee. Let's see. This is inside of most likely Callus's ship, his new flagship, because these are all Cabal in here. Inside of Rolk's, it's what looked like Scorn, but it's very possible that it could have been preserved bodies of Rolk's species. All right, so grappling onto an enemy here. We can see the Callus's Shadow Legion symbol here, which is really dope looking. It's the Callus's like pendant with resonant symbols coming off the bottom of it, like Rolk's were. All right, so this is, at first I thought this was the Dreaming City, but this is outside in the beach area. We got the melee, which created these Seeker Swarmers that went around. Those actually might be an aspect or a fragment and not actually from the SMG. All right, so this is going to be the introduction of Nimbus, the Cloud Striders coming in and doing their thing.
Neomuna has existed for
It just
hundreds
looks awesome.
of years. It branched off from Earth during our collapse and shut off any communication.
The
So they've
art
been
is great.
secretly-
This is obviously playable space. We see enemies spawning in here, which looks amazing. Honestly, this space right here kind of reminds me of Halo ODST in New Mombasa.
existing
throwing that
on
out there.
Neptune for a very long time and keeping themselves safe.
I think these are the people of Neomuna. I think that they're safe because they're digitized.
It was amazing to
Lots
see
of
how
Dido
the concept
iconography.
artists made all
Got the Vex. We have all the different things of the city in the background. That looks really good. The diamonds and the different minerals and stuff in the rocks and sand. Big fan.
The graphic design, the vibrancy, and yeah, there's some mysteries in there.
I'm looking forward to searching out for mysteries. I love all the art and the elevators and the verticality and everything. It's going to be dope. All right, so it looks like the Titan is wielding the exotic sidearm with the homing rounds. Don't really see anything else on them. This is I think this is a lost sector. It reminds me of the Ishtar Collective entrance on Venus, which I think is kind of intentional. What I don't think. I'm pretty sure it's intentional. to try to keep some continuity in there, but it looks really dope. Thrilladome, like she's talking about here, is going to be the arcade. Okay, so Hunter got the dodge, got the bola grenade. We got their knife throw thingy. So this is the heavy grenade launcher that is a wave frame. It hits. They didn't really show there. They kind of moved. I think you can break the arcade machines. So see, it's traveling along the ground. It is a stasis heavy wave frame grenade launcher. We have never had a heavy wave frame grenade launcher. So that is super dope. The arcade is going to be great. I love their little shot here of the people playing DDR. All right, and then we do have the Puka Pond, which I'm excited for. We get to see all of the different pukas and what makes them what they are, I'm assuming. I'm still a avid theorist that they are tiny little nanobot foundries that have turned sentient into just living machines. All right, so we have, I believe, a Season of Defiance auto rifle. I think it's Strand. There's something we see later that says there's a Strand auto rifle, and I believe that that is it. Let's see, they teleport in with a seasonal bow from Season of Defiance, and then they teleport in with, looks like the Lightfall hand cannon. The Typhon Imperator. We've got the sniper rifle here. I do not know what element that is. We will find that out in a moment. So we have Warlock has thrown a tangle over here, and we already have a tangle as the Hunter. The Hunter then grapples onto that tangle, follows it around as a Titan, puts a bunch of them into suspension, throwing the tangle, and killing most of them, which at that point would create more tangles that you can then use in the next enemies.
Striders.
I hope they make the Cloud Striders more lethal than that makes them seem.
And it has these new personalities that come along with it. They're defenders of this.
All these different Cloud Striders. I like it. I like it. I hope we get to learn about more of them. I hope we get lore cards and stuff that tell us about all these different Cloud Striders.
City. And they have new perspectives that we really haven't seen in characters in Destiny.
The design is amazing. The way their skin just melts into the metal and stuff, that's awesome.
I understand what's at stake, Lightbearer. Far better than you.
The sorrow, the emotion on his face there.
Smug, but super confident.
I love watching it transform into the blade that they then put on their back. That confirms that that's gear equipment. Now we've got the Tormentor.
We want the Tormentor.
So this is Witch Queen armor. And then this is colors from Valve the Disciple, which makes me feel like the Tormentors were originally conceptualized as something to appear in Valve the Disciple. Whether they needed more development time or anything like that, or as we'll see, we'll get a better look at some of them in a moment. It is very possible that they still have those tabards on that show those colors. Nope. This one's kind of shiny at the moment, so it still might kick the shit out of us. No, it does not. So yeah, they were probably originally conceptualized as something that we would run into in the Valve Disciple raid. Hopefully, I'm not just pulling shit out of thin air. And now they needed more development time, and they're showing up in Lightfall. Yeah, here's a good shot of it. It doesn't have any of the colors and stuff like that that represents it. That or else it's an early design of Rolk. And they decided to redesign Rolk and turn the Tormentors into something else. They can grab you here. So from what it seems here, from what we're seeing, it does not look like the Tormentors are going to show up in a grandiose boss-like fashion. They're going to be units that will just spawn in sometimes. I hope that means that their spawning is random I hope they're not a scripted spawn, because random spawns are what would truly make something like this a threat. Cool, you're randomly out on patrol, you're doing whatever. Uh-oh, here comes the tormentor. So it grabs you, pulls you up in immediate and a third person. Now, he calls it Dark Harvest in a moment. I don't see this being a one-shot kill outside of like high-end content like Master Raids or Grandmaster Nightfalls. Dark Harvest. Right, because this is out in the wilderness, but I don't know if this is a patrol zone or like a new strike or lost sector or something. All right, so now we're going to start looking at Season of Defiance. Got the Dead Cabal.
Lightfall and Season of Defiance
that I first thought was
two
Shaxx.
sides of the Destiny coin. And so on the Lightfall side, we have crazy neon cities going on an adventure far away, sort of bombastic action fantasy.
That was actually a pretty good look at that. Let's take a look at that sequence one more time real fast. All right, so we have all three different subclasses fighting the Cabal. They've grappled here. We have a grapple point up here. And it looks like they're shooting their gun. Grapple melee. Strand dive. They have grabbed Tangle. You're seeing the bullets come in and kind of like come downwards a little bit. It looked for a little bit. They were suspended and then smacked. Oh, we saw it there. They have one of those boxes. So I think these are going to be units. Yeah, because that explodes and travels outward like a missile. So yeah, they're a unit type, and that is a missile weapon that we're going to have to watch out for. We need to be aware of that. Be aware of that missile.
On the Season of Defiance side of the coin, it's destroyed.
Holiday and Crow. This looks like it's either the helm or the tower. I think it's the helm.
Much more closer to home.
Season of
EDZ.
Defiance is about the ground war on.
Right, and we got this ziggurat in the background here on the EDZ. I'm not sure if this is a new area or an existing area. It looks like it's new.
Earth.
So we've got Mithrax, and they're going to be here with some Dreg. Elixni. I don't want to call them dregs. They're here with some Elixni and some humans. It looks like they're rescuing them. I can't tell if this is a completely pyramid ship or if this might like be somewhere inside of the last city. Can't quite tell, but it looks like it doesn't look all completely pyramid tech. Here we have the Halpha Selectus, which means this is most likely another battleground. We have the units that have the missiles on their back. It says we're working with Petra and Devrim. I love that Devrim transmats in before his patches do. Right there. That's super funny to me. I'm glad that we're going to be working with Devrim again. I'm happy to have him back on the team. We're getting a lot more of a cinematic look at humans and Elixni existing. Okay. Here's where we're getting to start see some juicy stuff. Season of Defiance sword. At first, I thought it may have been a void stasis sword, but it is not. It is definitely a Season of Defiance weapon. This looks like it's also a Season of Defiance weapon. I think it's that auto rifle. I love and I completely dig this look for the armor, the red and the right angles and stuff. It really does remind me of the Siva raid armor from Destiny 1. I don't think that it is Siva, but aesthetically it kind of does remind me of that. All right, so here's where we're going over the gear. We have all three of them popping in. The Warlock is wearing their exotic boots that they're getting from the season or from the expansion. The Titan is wearing some sort of Clovis Bray stasis helmet. We'll get a better look at it in a second. The Hunter doesn't seem to have any sort of exotic that I can specifically see. I'm not sure why they made that choice. The legs might be an exotic, but I really don't know for sure. But they do have the Quicksilver, which I believe has ornament on it. Okay, so we have the Warlock has the homing sidearm that is strand. These look like Keitel's chosen markings. So I'm not sure who this comes from in the lore, but it really does look like a Keitel's chosen themed weapon. This looks like the ornament for Quicksilver, because we know we're supposed to be getting an ornament. So this looks like a lot of nanotech and everything being combined into it. And then this is the Titan, like I said. We've got the exotic helmet, which is clearly a stasis helmet. It's Clovis Bray. That's completely frozen face inside of a snow hat. And then we have this bow, which we'll find out its name in a little bit. I do not remember it off the top of my head, but when we get a look at the Guardian ranks, its name is in there. But this is the exotic bow for the Season of Defiance. It's a stasis bow, as you can tell from the arrow. I'm super excited to be playing with that. I've wanted an exotic stasis bow for a minute. It allows them to destroy tangles either by shooting them or throwing them into enemies to create threadlings. Now, we can see here and get some confirmation that the way it's working, I don't know if it's lit up red because they're buffed or because that's where the thread tangle is going to land, but they have the debuff just like the Warmind cells did. So it looks like a lot of that functionality, they literally just translated over to it. All right, and so the tangle ball comes in, explodes, and we see the creation of, it looks like 1, 2, 3. If that's not one of the homing darts that's going to come back, and it creates the threadlings on the ground. They go running around and just kick the shit out of them. Now, I didn't see his missile launch. Ooh, maybe that's it. No, or maybe that's just a chunk. So maybe it's sort of like the old Siva days where only precision kills cause it to launch or something like that. There may be some threshold that causes it to launch or not to launch. Hunters get a helmet. They give them woven mail. Honestly, nothing super special unless the woven mail makes you borderline immortal. That's a pretty neat one, but just damage resistance. That's just all we get from these frames here. Most likely in another lost sector. The Titan exotic looks pretty dope. We got the 3 different eyes. It's going to modify one of the aspects that when you drop your barricade, it sends out a wave that suspends enemies. The exotics will make it come out in 3 waves. What's really cool here is we can suspend Cyclopses. I'm a big fan of that. They say that doing that will fortify your woven mail as a Titan. So, I don't know. It sounds like it's going to make you basically just immune to damage for a little bit. Woven mail does everything but headshots, and it's debatable about whether or not enemies hit you with headshots. So this is the new exotic machine gun. Its name is Deterministic Chaos, and every 4th bullet is a weakening bullet, I believe, and then every 16th bullet is a volatile round. So it's very it sounds interesting. It's definitely Cloud Strider tech when we get a better view of the gun here in just a moment. This is definitely Cloud Strider tech. So it's debatable whether or not this sort of 16th round volatility is going to be that useful. I want to see, let's get it in full motion and see how fast it moves.
So we have this pistol that will use advanced technology to.
It's pretty quick, so we'll see. It seems like it might be pretty decent, but I'm gonna hold my reservations off on that. I love how we can see the strand going back and forth here on this sidearm.
Find your enemies, and so suddenly you're.
So these are definitely, I feel like, Keitel's chosen symbols. I know I've said that before, but that's really what's making me think that if this isn't like co-developed with the Keitel's chosen, it's from them directly. It makes me feel like it's a weapon that we're not really going to be firing per se. We're going to be waiting until it's ready, and then it's going to fire.
Where I kind of went, whoa.
Right, we got 3 here. We can see the specific lock-ons. Tangle cooldown all at once. Okay, no, this is something that we charge up, so it's probably going to be something that we use multiple times, and then this is going to determine the volley probably. Let's see what we got down here. So we are a Titan. We have the Berserker super. We have what looks like the grapple is the grenade, the triple melee, strand sidearm, the arc fusion rifle we've seen a few times, and this says a strand heavy machine gun, which I don't believe that we've really seen a lot of. So we're going to be getting a strand heavy machine gun. Excellent. It used up so much just to kill 3. I'm not sure I really like how that damage worked out. All right, so there is a lot of information for us to see here. First off, we're going to start with the weapons specifically, and then we'll kind of branch out from there. So we have the auto rifle from before, accurized rounds. Looks like this is, I believe, an existing perk we have already, but this is the important one, strand. We've got a strand perk here, which is going to be super dope. We have a grenade launcher that is not a wave frame, very important, with volt shot, which is going to be super dope because, I mean, you reload it every single time. So it's always got volt shot as long as you kill something. And then we have that sword from before. It is a solar sword because it's got incandescent right here. So that tells us what we're working with. We have 2 strand perks here. I'm assuming this is for orbs. This is for reload. Let's see. Okay. And then it changes. We have the shotgun, which is void because it has the new, it looks like volatile rounds type perk on it. I was very curious. Then we have that heavy machine gun with a strand perk. So yeah, we have a strand heavy machine gun right there. Let's see. Okay, so we have a lot of things in the background here. I believe it shows us a better view of all of this in a moment, but this is the only time we see this. So we have the different loadouts here. We have strike loadouts, strand, void, lost sectors, arc, trials loadouts. I'm assuming we can pick the symbol ourselves, what we want the loadout to actually be. And that's a very quick and easy way to know what loadouts we want to have. And I like that. I like that. They've moved the stats down a bit and put the Guardian rank there, so you'll never be able to miss it if you're an experienced player. And if you're a new player, you'll just know to always look there anyways. This is showing what champion mods are available. I'm assuming based on both the artifact and the subclass. I don't know if it takes weapons into account because we don't, I mean, we have volatile right here and we have a strand perk. So maybe let's back up a little bit. Let's see if it changes when the loadout changes. No, it didn't change. It stayed overload. But it's showing here that we can see everything that's inside of it. Let's just say scroll down in a moment. All right, Kinetic targeting, kinetic siphon, special ammo scout. We've got void weapon surge, which I believe is one of the charging mods. Use a void weapon and it'll charge you with armor charges, which is the new like charge with light. All right. Fonts of vigor, melees, tons of melee stuff here. Utility kickstart, 1-2 finisher, proximity ward. We see that the gear is called the Thunderhead. Charged up. Unflinching kinetic aim. Wild. Nope, 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 nope. Hatchling. So, I believe theory is every now and then you will get on kills or with sort of like with Outbreak Perfected, when you've hit enough times, a nanite or a floating needle will spawn. I don't think it spawns a threadling because that would be extremely overpowered. I think that it spawns those needles that we saw flying around in the air, hitting enemies while they were using strand weapons. I'm digging this look, the armor that they're wearing here. It does not say what that armor is. So the more I look at this hunter armor here, this red, I keep instinctively wanted to click it and spin it like I'm in game. The more I'm kind of reminded a little bit of Black Armory armor as well. So I wonder if our homies from the Black Armory are going to be coming out of hiding to help defend Earth. Let's see what we got. We're going to go forward a little bit. They've switched over. So here we get a much better view of everything. They don't have the supers pulled up, so we'll backtrack a little bit to see that. All right. We can see the supers over here. They're all actually set up now. It's not one of those where you go back and forth between lights and darks. Now they're all collected in one area. So we have, like previously mentioned, Guardian rank. It's got the stats moved down here. I see that it's got a blank outline here, like a seal. And I am wondering if that might be the title that we would have equipped that's going to show the seal there, or it might be something associated to this season specifically. Let's see, got the shotgun and everything. Got the heavy machine gun. We see the symbol here, which is Callus's little pyramid symbol. New artifact. I believe that's a new sparrow behind them. I mean, the hunter fit looks pretty decent, not going to lie. It's just the knives on the cloak up there just don't make any sense to me. Just like none. All right. So now we're able to see the actual loadout screen. It looks like those are specifically from the artifact. So back in the main inventory screen or the main character screen, these are specifically from the artifact, it looks like. We see the energy. We see that they're masterworked. Is just like the transmog system. Font of Vigor. So collecting Orb of Power causes you to gain 1 armor charge, which is a new charge with light system. Melee Kickstart. Melee energy fully expended. Gain melee energy. Additionally, your armor charge is consumed and you gain additional melee energy for each stack. Now, one of the things that we do see here is the difference between a minor mod and a major mod. Minors don't have that complete diamond around them. The majors do. So +5, +10. All right. Unflinching kinetic aim. Charged up. Stat increase. Yeah. You gain a bonus of mobility while you have an armor charge. Your armor charge now decays over time. Wonder how much of a bonus that would be. Yeah, we see the 4 costs on resilience now. Collect an orb of power, get an armor charge. Bam, Better already. Okay, health begins to regenerate. Stacks on stacks. Orb power grants you 1 additional stack. Weapon surge collects an orbit tower. Orbit power causes you to gain an armor charge. Void weapons gain a small bonus of damage while you have an armor charge. Okay, interesting. I like that. I like that. Okay. Nothing has changed here. They're on the Strand Super. I think that's part of their emblem. This up here, though, I did fail to mention it. Clan Collections Journey, which is going to be the Guardian ranks area now. Character and inventory. Replacing Triumphs. Okay, so all the Triumphs are located in here now. We're in the current season of Defiance, which is this symbol here, I'm assuming. That'll change depending on what you want to equip there. These are the main 6 ranks. As we can see here, rank 6 is Veteran. These others have wings on them, and we'll see in just a moment when they go up to it. Rank 7 Elite. This is an advanced rank. Advanced ranks show mastery in new mechanics and challenges and are refreshed every season. So 7 to 11 are ranks that will reset every time the season resets. 1 through 6 shows that you know what you're doing with the game. Anything beyond that shows that you know what you're doing with the current season and setup. Right. So we have the actual number here. 6, Veteran, partway through rank 7. I did not mention that, so we'll take a look at it real quick before we go in. Titles are going to be here. You can, it looks like equip a seal, and that will tell you what title that you currently have equipped. And these are the commendations. This hunter has 104 commendations, and I'm assuming this is just a split for the type of commendations they've gotten. All right, so we're in 7, season completion. This is inside of the system telling you what you have to do to reach rank 7. You have to complete, I'm assuming, all of these. So Lightfall, respective Nimbus, weekly campaign missions, which this does confirm that Nimbus is going to be our vendor for Lightfall in some way. Season of Defiance, seasonal rank, seasonal challenges. The war table is coming back as the main function and the vendor for us in Season of Defiance as we go through this. The Verglass Curve. So that is the exotic stasis bow that we're going to be getting this season. So that's a little confirmation for that there. Artifacts, usual. Collect perks, activate perks, power bonus, etc. Nightfall. Complete them and get platinum rewards, and complete them while using a, and I'm assuming it's supposed to be this season's gear or something like that. That's usually what those stand for. Champions, each of the 3 different styles of champions, and then get certain commendations, which I'm not sure how that's going to work, which that's one of those things that kind of makes me feel like it may not be one of those where you have to complete all of them. You just have to complete most of them, because commendations would mean the solo players can't progress, and they've been trying to really push that solo players can progress just as far as those who play in teams. So we'll see what it means. We'll see what happens. All right, so we have all of the Guardians here. I'm like, look at that. I mean, I was thinking Siva, but now that I'm really looking at it, Black Armory really does stand out. Right, so we can see like this armor on here is a Titan, using that auto rifle that we mentioned before. This is the actual hunter, which is part of what makes me feel like it is Black Armory based stuff, especially like also like the way it drapes down here in front on the Warlock. Let's see. All right, so they're going through their commendation. At the end of a Vowed Disciple raid, we have 5 different commendations. This first one is the only one we're going to see. It's for being selfless. And they can award it to there. It looks like you can award a commendation to multiple guardians, but I don't think you can award multiple commendations to a guardian.
This universe
On top of it looks like maybe the helm just outside of Earth's orbit,
and we want to show you
while the war is
new
going
ways to
on at the
explore.
beginning of
We wanna show
Lightfall.
you new things to discover in the universe, because we think that Destiny has a lot to offer, and Lightfall is the catalyst for that. It's high stakes, thrilling action, all at the same time, pushing the Destiny story to places it's
This is the raid. This has got to be the raid shot. Okay. I'm assuming the raid is going to be something deep inside of the city having to do with the relic, which is what the witness is after. But we've got the hunter, the warlock, the titan, finally getting into that hood game. Bow, hand cannon, quicksilver, maybe a hand cannon. Can't quite tell, but I believe that's the auto rifle. No idea what this warlock has. I still have yet to see this actual hand cannon in game, but it's probably there and I've missed it. All right, so that was our breakdown of the ViDoc. Lots of super juicy information, especially about Guardian ranks and some of the things we're going to be doing in Season of Defiance. So, thanks for hanging out.